This one's like catnip because it's about wet leases and dry leases. So I'm struggling with wet lease versus dry lease and how that is involved with illegal charter and common carriage. So the key difference between, first of all, a wet lease and a dry lease is a wet lease includes at least one crew member, and a dry lease is only the aircraft. So if you are leasing the airplane and have at least one crew member, then that turns into a wet lease. And generally speaking, that's not allowed in Part 91 aviation. So most of the time, if you're talking about a Part 91 dry lease, which I'm assuming that's what you're talking about here, we're only talking about dry leases being the legal way to do that. So let's talk, these is best to talk about in scenarios. So let's give two similar scenarios where, let's say you're providing pilot services for somebody that's flying a Baron, and you go out to the airplane and that Baron it's got some sort of maintenance issue and it's grounded. You can't complete the flight. But right next door, there's another Baron that's identical. It's the same Baron, same avionics, same everything. And so the owner of that Baron, remember, you're just doing pilot services. You're not providing the plane. So you were going to fly this guy's Baron. The Baron's broke. So he picks up the phone, calls his friend and says, "Hey, friend, I want to borrow your Baron to do this flight." And his friend's like, "Hey, no problem. I'll lease it to you for the day." Perfect. And you go over, you pre-flight the airplane, and you go do the flight. That was a dry lease. So the question about whether that's legal or not is kind of the background of, was there a piece of paper or some sort of formal agreement that you can tie the aircraft's registration, which is not in the person you're flying's name, right? The person you're flying, their name isn't on the aircraft registration. So you need some sort of paperwork that ties the person you're flying, who's also acting in operational control, right? The person who you are flying is the operator of this flight. You are just the pilot. You're not the operator. So the operator of the flight needs to have some sort of paper trail that connects them to the registration of the aircraft that you're using. So that's step one of a dry lease, is that connection there. Step two is to make sure the person who's operating the flight is a legitimate operator. So let's change things up a little bit here and say you just get a phone call and somebody says, "Hey, I've rented a Baron at the local airport, and I was given your name as a pilot, and I want you to fly me in this Baron down to my vacation."